Tomorrow, Thursday, June 5th, 7 p.m. East, I will be doing a live chat with you on my YouTube channel for the release of my brand new comedy special. It is called Shabby Chic. And if you are hearing this after Thursday, June 5th, Good. This is off to a good start. We're not starting over. This is one take. We're doing it. This is as live. So after Thursday, June Fish. If you're hearing this after that, just search for Shabby Chic comedy special on YouTube and you can find it. And we are now doing a thing in the show notes. You can find a link to this episode of the podcast. If you want to switch over to video, if you are listening on audio, just go to the show notes. It will pull up this exact episode 257, and then you can watch this episode. And that is also my YouTube channel, the same channel where the comedy special Shabby Chic will be. So you can subscribe to my YouTube channel while you are there. And again, little public service announcement, subscribe does not mean there's no payment. It's just follow. That is YouTube's term for follow. It is all free. We've already wondered, how is this podcast free? Now I'm releasing a free comedy special on my YouTube channel. I'm like Santa Claus. I'm like Santa. It's like I just walk around with my sack of goodies, my sack of hot fire takes, my sack of amazing stand-up comedy, and I'm just giving it out for free. It's incredible. It's just honestly amazing. And speaking of how is this podcast free, in this episode, I am going to convince you to go for it this summer. We've had Hot Girl Summer a couple summers ago. I mean, for our listeners of this podcast, every summer is Hot Girl Summer. But we also had, last summer, it was Brat Summer. That's what all the TikTokers say. It was Brat, which I first thought was Brat when I saw it written. I was like, I do love a good bratwurst. So Brat Summer is different than, I gained 20 pounds last summer. So I had a Brat Summer and all you hot girls had a Brat Summer last summer. This summer, guys, it's go for it summer. Here's what I mean by that. Whatever thing that you've always kind of wanted to do or try, something with your blue flame, perhaps finding your blue flame. If you don't know what it is, summer is a good time to go for it, because even if you don't have kids, even if you're not on the school year cycle, summer is still a time when no one expects anything from anyone. A lot of offices will let you work some flexible hours. Just if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, everybody understands that summer is a time when no one's crushing it. No one's killing. Your boss doesn't, come on, they don't really expect you to be like working very hard this summer. So if you've ever wanted to try that thing, start a podcast, God forbid, so that you can know what it's like to be underappreciated and have 3 views on YouTube when you're just like spitting hot fire, or write a novel, or get back into oil painting, get into watercolor, that sort of thing. This is the summer to go for it. You can have a little more flexibility in your schedule. You can make time for it. And I think that you need to just do it. And I am about to play for you, and we will discuss this later as well, the most motivating video I have maybe ever seen in my life. And I want you to think about this, because I am on motivating video social media. I mean, the algorithm knows me. It knows that ambition is the air that I breathe. The algorithms know that I have not journal spoken enough to rid myself of all of the unresolved trauma that makes me feel like I am only valuable if I am succeeding. I know this about myself, and we're not there yet in terms of me being able to journal speak all of that out. And right now, we're just going with it. We're just rolling with this aspect of my personality. Because of that, the algorithm knows that if you get a video of an overly muscular man yelling in my face about how I'm fat and lazy and it's my fault, and if I were to just be on my grind like he's on his grind, I will watch the whole video. Now, you know what I think of influencers like that, and try being a mom for one day and we'll see how much you're still on your grind. But the algorithm just knows that is like catnip to me. I love it. It's very motivating to me. David Goggins being like, listen, just because you have COVID and Ebola at the same time is no excuse not to do your 15-mile warm-up run. I was bleeding from my eyes. I was bleeding from every orifice in my body. And I still did my 15 miles to warm up for the 30 miles that I would do later in the day. I love it. I love that content. So think about this. When I tell you I have found the most motivating video you will ever see, I've put in my 10,000 hours of watching motivating social media videos. So it's by a guy. Let's see. I wrote down his name. I want to make sure to give him credit. Jose Caba. It's so wonderful. And I want you to replay this. I bookmark this if there's some way to do it. Whenever you're feeling unmotivated, whenever you're feeling blue and need a kick in the pants to go achieve your blue flame, give it a shot, try that thing, call that person that, call that ex. No, not your ex, but that's for single people, just when you need a little motivation to just do it, replay this. All right, Caitlin, play it. It's so good. You might need to turn up the volume too, but play it.
Why are you so afraid of taking a risk and failing? Like, I will get it if you had a name to live up to or like a reputation, but nobody's expecting anything from you. Like, I feel like that is a lot of pressure off of you. So just risk it. Like, just do something new and exciting. I don't know. It's not going to work out, but like, nobody's going to be disappointed at it.
Is that not the best advice you've ever heard?
It's so great.
To summarize what, he's just saying, like, nobody cares what you do. You're not famous. Nobody's expecting anything of you. It's not like you have a public image to live up to. And I love it too. He's like, it's not going to work, but might as well try it. Listen, in all of my years on this earth, in all of my years of my trauma-based blinding ambition, where all I think about all day, every day is how I can succeed and achieve, this is honestly the best, most motivating advice I've ever heard. Like, it's not going to work, but the good news is nobody knows or cares who you are. So you might as well just try it. Okay, just play it one more time. I'm going to play it like 5 times on this episode. Just play it one more. I just have to hear it again.
Why are you so afraid of taking a risk and failing? Like, I will get it if you had a name to live up to or like a reputation, but nobody's expecting anything from you. Like, I feel like that is a lot of pressure off of you. So just risk it. Like, just do something new and exciting. I don't know. It's not gonna work out, but like, nobody's gonna be disappointed at it.
Did I bleep? I tried to bleep the B word there. Did I bleep it?
The word itself is, but it's written down too. So
I forgot about that. Can you fix that in post? Uh-huh. Okay. All right. Well, now stuff added to Caitlin's to-do list. I forgot about that. I forgot about the written word. Yeah. Okay. So Caitlin will fix that. Sorry. We keep this podcast PG-13 so that you can listen with your kids and all that. But truly incredible advice. And I want you to carry that with you into Go For It summer. So I always use writing a novel as an example because so many of my fans are on the spectrum, and that's, writing a novel is something that crazy spectrum people like to do. So I know that's something that a lot of you are interested in, but whatever it is you might want to do, just imagine I'm talking about that if it's not write a novel. So let's say you try it, and this summer you make a goal that by the end of the summer, by let's say August, it's the end of summer. Let's say August 15th. That's a good Catholic feast day, and it tends to be the end of the summer for a lot of people. It's when your boss starts to care again, So let's say you write your novel, you paint your painting by the end of the summer, you launch the side hustle on Etsy, and let's say it does suck, and sometimes sometimes you will write something that is not good. I wouldn't falsely encourage you guys. You might write a novel that sucks, especially if it's a first draft, but like this guy says, who cares? You're not Dean Koontz. It's not like anyone. It's not like you had like tens of thousands of people being like, can her next work live up to the last? Nobody cares, you know? And that happened to me when I wrote Something Other Than God, which has over 2,000 5-star reviews on Amazon. Yes. And my 2 other books, they're doing great too, in the rankings and in the reviews. I mean, when I wrote the first draft, it was not good. And what was horrible too is I thought it was good. Well, when I was writing it, I was like, this is garbage. And then I finished it and I was like, I'm a genius. This is amazing. And my agent said, no, this is garbage, actually. And I will never forget sitting down with him and saying, well, what aspects do you think I should fix? And he said, he was dancing around something. And finally I said, just say it. What are you trying to say? He's like, I think you should start over. It was horrific. It was truly horrific, but it was worth it. And you know what? I only had to rewrite it 2 more times from a blank page to get it right. But now I'm sort of glad I did, because a lot of people say they really like it a lot. It's translated into, can you hand me that copy? See, look, we have a copy right here in a language that has a lot of consonants that I don't know what it is. It is, see, I need to do a book tour in whatever country this is. Kako Sam Strasveno Trazalia Sreku. I'll do the book tour for that. And then this one, you know what's funny? Again, switch over to YouTube. We have the link in the show notes. You can watch this episode on YouTube. You can see what I'm holding up here. This one's just called Kazats Jacques Bog. But what's funny is on the cover, there's a picture of a man with a backpack. And I'm like, well, how did they translate this? Did they translate it? I mean, do we know that the person who translated it is good at English? Or because, like, what if they're in a country where not a lot of people speak English? And so they're just like making up sounds and people are like, yeah, they speak English. And like, what if they translated it as if I am a man? It does make me wonder, because there's a man on the cover. Wouldn't that be me talking about my husband, you know? And like, it's just that could be weird. That could be weird if they translated it like I'm a man. So I should do a book tour in these countries. I think one's Croatian. The other one is probably Polish or Czech, if I had to guess. But that would be fun to do a book tour out there. Anyway, the point is, my books are in multiple languages. They get good reviews. But I was like what that guy says. It didn't work when I first did it. I just had my butt kicked by editors who had very harsh things to say about my work product that I did not appreciate. But it's, you do get a sense of accomplishment from having done it. And the big thing is, if it is your blue flame, if it is this love language that God has given you for how you are meant to give back love to the world, whether it's through writing, through painting, through podcasting, through, God forbid, stand-up comedy, something like that, making YouTube videos, whatever, it will give you energy when you do it. Even if you look back and say, oh, that was kind of garbage. Like that first YouTube video or whatever that I did was not that good. Still, each step that you take toward using your blue flame, toward enacting this love language that God has given you for how you are meant to add love to the world. Cooking is another example. Home decorating, that sort of thing. Every step you take in that direction changes you. Every time you conquer that blank page and write one page of your garbage novel that you're working on, every time you get over the inertia and add some beauty to your house, or cook a new dish, if cooking is your thing, you cook a new dish for your family. Every time you do that, it changes you a little bit for the better. And you become a little bit more the person you were meant to be, because you are fighting that resistance. You are fighting that inertia that tells you to just hide yourself and not try and not put anything out there ever. And but it's a scary thing. And one of the things that I hear a lot, especially from you guys, from my village people, is you say, well, like, I mean, but literally, how do you do it? Because I'm a busy mom. Let's say you're a single mom. You work 2 jobs. You're totally overwhelmed. And you say, I want to, again, we're just using the example of writing a novel. I want to write a novel, but how would I do it? I'm exhausted. I will tell you this, that there is no paint by numbers answer. People who say they have paint by numbers answers get a lot more views than I do on social media platforms, but they're lying to you, because the reality is this is really a partnership with the divine. It's a partnership with God, and it's a bespoke process. It's a bespoke process where God is going to tailor make a path for you. So I can't tell you how it will work, but I can tell you this. There's a great quote. I actually researched this guy so that I could read this quote to you here on the podcast. His name is in a different part of my notes app. Hang on. No, that's a different. Oh, William Hutchinson Murray. And I'll tell you about him later. He knew a thing or two about overcoming challenges. He has this great quote you might have seen before where he says, "The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too." The moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. Last year, I was talking about a quote too that said 99% is a pain. I'm rephrasing. They used a little bit more snappy word, but 99% is a pain, 100% is a breeze. Meaning, especially when you are doing something that involves risk to your ego, like trying out your blue flame, putting yourself out there. If you do it 99% or less, you will back out because it's just too painful. It's too difficult. But when you commit and you say, I'm going to get this done in some shape or other, and it might be in the wee hours of the night, it might be weird, I might not perfectly have my ice bath scheduled for my perfect writing time. It might be in snippets here and there, but I'm going to do this, and I'm going to put myself out there in this way and try out this love language. When you commit 100%, like this quote says, providence moves too. God will start revealing to you how this is going to work. It just creates this momentum. It's like a tidal wave that just happens, and it creates this momentum in your life, and things just start opening up for you. For example, after a couple times that I used the kids' nap time to start writing something other than God. And a couple times I actually got up early, if you can imagine. I got up before the kids to get some writing time in, but I had no babysitting help at all. And right after I started doing that, these girls, actually it's funny. First they started playing Ding Dong Ditch on my door, and I was very angry about it. This was before Ring cameras. But through that situation, I ended up meeting them, and I realized they were young. They were 11, 12. Long story short, their moms were single moms. They didn't really have much to do after school. And so they ended up coming over to my house, which was a huge win-win because then their moms didn't have to worry about them so much. But I had a bunch of babies and little kids, and they would play with my kids, and I could get an hour or so to work on my book. And I would sit in the living room with them. I would help them kind of watch the kids, keep an eye on everything. And I'd give them some money here and there. And, as a broke parent who I didn't have money for a professional nanny or a professional babysitter, but it was such a win-win that I was able to throw them a few bucks. They had a safe place to go after school. I had some help with the kids. And I fully believe that is an example of that great quote that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. I'm telling you, that situation fell in my lap because I committed that I was going to do this. I was going to start trying out my blue flame of writing. And if I had been wishy-washy about it, I can't explain it, but I just don't think it would have happened. And I can't tell you why, but that's just how it works, that the path is laid out in front of you when you start walking. And I can't give you a roadmap. Nobody can give you a roadmap. God gives you the roadmap, but only 1 foot in front of you and only once you start walking. And if you can believe it, this is just the setup. Yeah. This is just the setup. How is this podcast? We can't figure it out. So this is the main topic. The format of this podcast is we always get to the main topic in the latter half of the show. So I'm just setting up what we are talking about today. The idea of using this summer to go for it. Or again, if you don't know what your love language to the world is, if you don't know what your blue flame is, go for it to try a bunch of stuff. Take massive action. Go to a painting class. If you hate it, go to some bike riding class. Or, I don't know. I don't know what you outdoorsy people do, but just maybe that's how you go for it this summer, is you try a bunch of stuff. Welcome to the Jen Fulwiler Show. We are coming to you from Austin, Texas. This is the podcast where you learn the art of the village hustle. That is being a hot girl, girl boss, or hot boy, boy boss who knows that love and family and community are the foundations of all true success. I'm your host, Jen. I am a stand-up comic, best-selling author, and mom of 6. We publish new episodes every single Wednesday morning, and Caitlin White is our lovely producer. I love the Patreon. You should really join the Patreon. There are 2 levels. Patreon is just it's just a platform where I can put out content that is premium content. It's bonus content, and Patreon handles the membership stuff of it. That would be a lot for me to handle myself. So I outsource that to Patreon. So if you go to patreon.com/thisisjen, you will see previews of all of the great content that I have out there. And in fact, the base level Patreon is where you get the after party, where I keep chatting at the end of each podcast episode about this topic. And I'm doing something special today for the after party Patreon for here episode 257. I'm going to show the thumbnails for the thumbnail options for my stand-up comedy special Shabby Chic, and I will show which one you guys chose based on Instagram vote, but I disagree with it. I really didn't think that was the right thumbnail. I don't think it has the right tone, but it was not even close. There was not a close second based on the Instagram vote. And I'll show you the ones that I did think I should use and that men overwhelmingly tend to like. Did I tell you this, Caitlin, that the voting for the comedy special thumbnail very, very much fell along gender lines?
Oh yeah, I remember us talking about it.
Yeah. That was so, and I think you'll see. So go to patreon.com/thisisjen. You'll see the after party episode for episode 257. It says episode 257 after party. There's an audio version. Skip that for this one because this one involves video. So go to the video version, episode 257 after party, and I will be showing those thumbnails. And don't let me forget to do that, Caitlin, when we do the after party. But it is very interesting how much it fell along gender lines. Both of my sons and my husband liked this one, and then all the Instagram ladies liked another. So I ended up, I'll show you which one I ended up going with. Anyway, that's the kind of thing I do on Patreon. And then on the higher level, the Village Hustle level, it's where I do my life coachy kind of stuff, how I make it all work. Patreon.com/thisisjen. Let's see. Okay, so you're joining me. You have that on your calendar. Tomorrow, June 5th, 7 p.m. East. You will be in the live chat with me on my for my stand-up comedy special, and 7 p.m. East, and that's not like the Patreon lives that we do. This will be only by text, so I don't have to put on makeup for that one. So I'll just be texting, and you guys can comment on the special and some of the stories I tell, and things like that. Speaking of people's comments, someone see this is why sometimes I don't read comments, because ironically, it's because I listen to people too much. It's like I care too much, and I take the haters too seriously. So somebody said, they said, Jen, you talk an awful lot about having enemies for being a Catholic. Like, you claim to be a Catholic. Maybe you shouldn't talk about your enemies so much. I would just like to point out, Jesus never said you couldn't have enemies. He just said to love them. In fact, he kind of seemed to assume that you will have enemies. It's like, yeah, you have a lot of enemies, but love your enemies. And I do love my enemies. And that's why I pray on their downfalls. because the success that they have had has made them horrible human beings. Success has not been good for them. So I would like to see them go on a journey of failure, which would lead them to humility, which would allow them to grow closer to the Lord, which they desperately need to do. So I love my enemies very much. And that is why I hope that they fail, because I think it would be good for them. So that's why dude, Jesus never said I couldn't have enemies, guys. I'm an excellent Catholic. I'm just the Pope looks up to me. He texts me for advice, which he could do because we both speak English. That it still feels like a fever dream that we have an American Pope in the best possible way. Like every day I wake up and I'm like, no, we don't really have an American Pope. Like there's no way. Like there's no way that actually happened. It's just the coolest. You guys should convert to Catholicism just so you can experience that. It's just such a cool thing to experience. Let's see, where are we on time? Rosie O'Donnell, non-binary kid. Do I have time for that? You know what? I can actually hit this very quickly. This doesn't have to be a long topic. So Rosie O'Donnell has said that Rosie has a child named Clay, who is 12 and who has come out as non-binary. And so Rosie said Rosie will call the kid by they, them pronouns now, because the 12-year-old has said that they're neither a boy nor a girl. And I don't know what the 12-year-old's assigned gender was, their original gender, but Rosie has said that's all right. So they're they, them now. This doesn't have to be controversial. This doesn't have to be a long discussion with anyone, because what I would say for this sort of thing, and I've said this before, I'll say it again, from time immemorial, going back, like look at any culture anywhere in human history. One of the things that humans have always done that we all have in common is a little unspoken rule: no identity changes before adulthood. No identity changes before adulthood. Now, different cultures have defined adulthood differently. And back in the medieval period, where if you were a medieval serf, you weren't going to live past like 24, 25. So you were middle-aged at like 15. So yeah, you could change your identity in the sense of being married, joining a convent, becoming a nun, becoming a monk. So you could do that because you were considered an adult at like age 15 or so. But I mean, really, and this isn't just a Christian thing. I mean, look at any culture, and every culture has moments in which your personal social identity changes. Getting married, becoming a priest, becoming a monk, that sort of thing. And they all have ceremonies around it so that your community can join you in just sort of being aware. I mean, that's kind of one of the purposes of weddings is, hey, just wanted you guys to know, single era is over, so we're committing to this person. It's a way to let the community know this person is off the market, just so you know, in case you missed the memo. This was before we could do Instagram hashtags and stuff. Let's gather the entire community so that they can see that this person's identity, these two people's identity, is now different. They're not single. They are married. So ceremonies have always been part of that. And then there have always been built-in structures to allow people to think about the identity change. No one has ever said it's a good idea for people to go get married the day after they meet. No one has ever said it's a good idea to go become a monk or a nun when, maybe you've been thinking about it for a couple months. Monks and nuns have systems that they go through. When you first go live in the convent, you don't wear the full nun's habit or monk's robes. You dress in a certain way, but it's not the full robes. And you're just kind of hanging out. You're just kind of getting a taste of it. Same thing with engagements. I also think this is a little bit newer in human history, but it's worth noting that there was kind of a good system there too with the tradition of a man getting an engagement ring that had some monetary value to it, that also put in a little bit of built-in waiting, because a man would have to amass enough money to buy a ring that has, some value to it, and then that presumably is symbolic of the fact that the man can get some money together if he needs to. Therefore, he might be ready for a family, for children. And I saw that my own grandfather told that story during the Great Depression. He wanted to get engaged to my grandmother sooner than he did, but he just couldn't afford a ring, and it took him quite a while to be able to do that. And that's a good system. That's a good system, because it made them pump the brakes, just pause, like, hey, it's the Great Depression. Should we think about marriage, which could mean children to provide for? And again, that was more recent in human history, but you can look at really any culture, and they all have very similar structures around identity change. Specifically, that you have to be an adult. You need to go through a process that has been established by your community and is everyone kind of collectively agrees is a good process for waiting, for discerning whether this identity change is going to be good for you. And you have to be an adult. And frankly, one of the reasons these things are in place is so that you just don't waste your community's mental energy. It just takes a lot of mental energy if someone's like, oh, they're married to this person. Oh, now they're single. Oh, now they're married to this person. It's like if I'm doing invitations to something, we have a couple friends. I do Christmas cards, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what is the last name this year? It's like it's just a lot for your community when you're changing your identity a lot. And in comedy, I have a couple friends, pronouns have changed a few times. And I'm like, I'm nobody's nanny. I don't care what you do, but I do not have the mental energy to keep up with the rotating genders here. Like, you need, do what you want, have a ceremony so that everyone can, know what you're doing, and just just stop making these changes, because it's taking up a lot of mental energy on my part. And I do think that's one of the reasons for these kind of ritualized identity changes, so that everyone can kind of think about it, pause, make sure this is really going to work for them. They're adults. They've had some time to process. And then the community doesn't have to be yanked around with ever-shifting identities. So to take it back to Rosie O'Donnell, it's just insane to let children change their identities. And I mean, it would be like if, my kids go to a Catholic school, and if there were a kid there who was 12 and was Muslim, lots of kids of different religions go to Catholic school. And so if there were a Muslim kid there and he were like, I'm Catholic now, I'm deciding this, I'm Catholic. Even the Catholics at the Catholic school would say, hey, you're 12. Let's just keep thinking about it. Let's not rush into this because you are 12. And big identity changes shouldn't be made independently when you are a minor. So that's, next time you end up in a conversation about that, I think it actually doesn't matter, whether you think that there are 20 genders or whether you're old fashioned, you think they're kind of two mainly. If you're, what does science say about gender? Whatever. It actually doesn't matter at all, because you can very easily make the case that there's just not a precedent in human history for children to be able to change their identities. So I would just take it off the table entirely. If you're arguing with your kid's school or somewhat, whatever. I mean, this comes up a lot. Just say, look, it doesn't matter whether I think being non-binary is a thing or not, because adults, whatever, adults are going to do what they want to do, whatever. But I just don't believe in identity changes for kids. So just like I would not recommend a 12-year-old get married, I would not recommend a 12-year-old run off and become a monk. I would not recommend that a 12-year-old undergo just a massive religious conversion independently, just, something they decided and just did. Wouldn't recommend a 12-year-old become a nun, and I wouldn't recommend a 12-year-old change their gender. Kids just shouldn't be changing identities. So I just wanted to throw that out there because I saw a lot of people talking about it on social media. Now, let's see. Do I have time? Yeah, I'm going to make time. Okay. I'm so concerned about the fact that cliff diving is a thing. Speaking of me, I always have the pulse on what everyone is thinking about. It's like how my hyperfixation a couple of weeks ago was when I found out that people went to the bottom of the ocean in a submarine in 1960 and the window cracked while they were at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. And I know that's what everybody was thinking about that. I know how to have relevant content. So my hyperfixation this week is that cliff diving is a thing. Somehow in my procrastination with my own fears about putting my comedy special out there, because it comes out tomorrow on my YouTube channel at 7 p.m. East. It's called Shabby Chic. I have a lot of fears surrounding putting myself out there in that way, exposing myself to potential YouTube comments, to the haters and everything. So I have been doing a lot of procrastinating on social media. And somehow I have ended up on high dive TikTok. Play one of these videos. And again, we link to this actual episode on YouTube in the show notes. So if you are listening on audio and you want to see these videos, just click. It's free for everyone. You don't need any kind of special account. Just click on the link in the show notes and you'll be able to see it. Okay. Play one of these videos, Caitlin, of these guys. It's like 93 feet. I think they speak in meters. I only know freedom units, but I think it's like 90 something feet. So that would be like being on top of a 9-story building. Play one of these videos, Caitlin. Oh yeah. Okay. We have to do this one without the sound. You have to look this up on YouTube. This girl, her name is Molly. I think it's Carlson. Oh no. 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 So Molly Carlson is somewhat famous. Play that again so that I can be horrified again. Oh, stop. No. That I should offer commentary other. No, stop.
No.
I don't think I could jump off that platform for any amount of money.
No.
So So I'm very concerned about this, guys. And because this podcast is a seamless tapestry, hit the seamless tapestry sound effect. This does relate to the main topic of like blue flame of your calling. Mainly because if anyone has ever doubted me that having a blue flame is a thing, and one of the ways you know that you found your blue flame, the way you're meant to love the world, your love language to the world, your gift from God, is that it's something that other people wouldn't want to do. The fact that these people do this professionally, it is like their full-time job, it just shows that blue flames exist. Because if this is not some kind of special calling, okay, go. So I learned. It's more horrifying than you think. Okay, play the next video, and I'm going to tell you horrible things I learned about these cliff diving people. Play this video.
Oh, check how high this is.
Look at this. No. He's like throwing things off a cliff that he's about to jump off of.
All right, ready? Splash.
This is a very tiny Speedo. I guess you can't wear big, bulky swimsuits. It's not a modest sport.
My turn.
No. Look at this, Kate. No. He's gonna jump. Oh. Yeah, oh, look, he's doing ah! Okay, so
Ouch.
no. You will notice in all of these diving videos, there's like Red Bull Cliff Diving is an account that I'm obsessed with now. And you might have seen this when you think about it. If you've ever seen someone high diving, especially if it's out like on a lake, they will have people way down below. And if you have not pulled this up on YouTube yet, these guys are so high. Like if there's a kayak in the water, it is the size of a grain of rice. That is how high up they are. But you can see there are people down below. First of all, some of them are EMS in case, because like if you belly flop, that is, it's an EMS kind of situation. But they're splashing the water. Do you know why they're splashing the water?
Oh, go ahead.
No, yeah.
Aren't they like breaking the tension or something? Okay, all right. Because I was like, how do you not die?
See, that's right. Because we've all heard that water basically turns into like concrete after a certain height. Yes. So the professional splashers, or I mean, a lot of times it's like these guys' friends, the splashers sit there and splash to break up the surface tension of the water so that the guy doesn't splat like it's concrete. Okay. Second blue flame that I could never do. I couldn't be the splasher.
I forget.
You're right. Exactly. Because I'd be like, oh, this is, you know what? I should be more grateful for nature. Look at that bird. And I'd hear like a splat next to me and be like, I knew I forgot something. I forgot to splash. I forgot to be. Okay. The other thing is, how did these guys not land on you? Because you're in water. You can't move quickly. What if you're like, he's coming. You know, you can't go underwater because they go like all the way down. They'd still hit you. So how do you get out of the way if he like starts drifting the wrong way in the air? Let's go to, so I found videos of me jumping off. It was like maybe 8 feet compared to 92 feet. Terrifying. Go ahead and play it because there's like a lot of silence at the first one. Play that one of me. So this is me at Lake Travis in Austin. It's scarier than it looks. You guys are going to pull this up on YouTube and be like, Jen, seriously? No, it was scarier than it looks. And I just couldn't bring myself to do it. And my kids were harassing me from the boat. So I'm up there. I was so scared.
Hey, Joe. All right, I'm going to go.
Oh, wait, this is the one. Okay, here's where I actually jump in. It's terrifying. I promise you this was actually really scary. That was scary. It was scarier than it looks. Okay, play the other one. So I was up there. So I just want to tell you, I have experience with cliff diving. You're like, Jen doesn't know. I do know. I do know. I jumped off an 8-foot cliff. Video proof.
I don't think I've even done that.
Listen to my kids harassing me about this. You can hear them in a second here. And then you can hear me yelling at them. I was just up there contemplating it. I should have cut this video, sorry.
You didn't do it!
My family's getting bored.
Nobody can yell at me who is not also jumping off of this cliff.
Yeah. I wasted so much of their time with this. I just stood up there for the longest time contemplating it. But as you saw in the second video, I did eventually jump. Okay, now, Caitlin, go to the other one of the professional cliff diver, the last one I sent you.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let me play it?
Yeah, play it. Yeah. Oh, look at this. Okay, this chick, so this is a woman, and she's practicing. She's visualizing the dive.
Go, Danny.
Yeah.
Roseanne, you got it. You know what to do.
Look at that. It's so far down. The kayaks look like grains of rice.
Is the rock on this side? Can I move on this side?
Okay, did you hear? She was like, is the rock on this side? There's a rock she has to avoid. There's a rock she has to avoid. Okay, and I know this from my 8-foot cliff jump experience. I would be up there second guessing everything. Oh, yeah. I'd be like, I don't know if I can avoid the rock. And then I'd be looking at the splashing people. I'd be like, you're not splashing enough. I'm going to hit this like concrete. I'm just going to be like a blob of ooze after I hit this because you're not splashing. I would be up there analyzing everything. And then you'll hear in a minute, they give her a countdown. If you tried to give me a countdown, I'd be like, you can't tell me when to jump. You cannot. I don't jump off of cliffs on command. And so then I'd be arguing with the counter. I'd be like, you're counting too fast. Start over. They'd be like 3, 2. No, I feel pressured. I feel like you guys are putting pressure on me. And here's the other thing. So this one here, this isn't, so I now know a lot about cliff jumping. We're actually heading into the cliff jumping season. This one is in the Philippines. The next one there's one coming up in June. I forget where it is. But so this one is in the Philippines. And so think about this. These professional cliff jumpers have been flown all the way across the world. A lot of them are American and Canadian. They have been flown all the way across the world to do this. So imagine you're standing up there and again, as I know from my 8-foot jump, the pressure that you feel, now everyone thinks I have to do that. Now I can't just climb down this thing because my ego won't let me. It makes it so much worse because you're like, this isn't a choice at this point. I have to do this. And so I would be up there shouting at everyone. I just feel like everyone's putting a lot of pressure on me. It would turn into a 45-minute Shakespearean soliloquy. The sun would set, the splashers would be gone, the kayakers would be gone. I would just be talking in circles about how I don't need this pressure and stop counting, and you guys aren't splashing enough. Okay, go ahead.
It's okay? Okay.
She's avoiding the rock.
You got it, Zen.
Okay, 20.
Come on, you know what to do.
20 seconds. She just asked them for a 20-second countback. Nope. No, she's going backwards. Walking in. They're going to count here in a second.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go!
I'd be like, no, you can't tell me to go. You can't, no. Here's the other thing about this. There's this certain mental skill you have to have of not second guessing.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of them, like the one that's coming up in June, I think that one is off actual rocks where they actually have to rock climb. They have to be rock climbers to get up on top of this godforsaken rock that they jump off of. And that's really hard in and of itself. It's like my worst nightmare, but I have to exercise and then fall off a ledge. The worst. I truly cannot imagine. It would be like if I had to do a CrossFit workout and then fall off of something and then hope the splashers are doing their jobs. So they have this pressure, first of all, of having been flown all the way across the world to do this, and then they're up there on like they've climbed all the way to the top of this thing. But here's the big thing: they can't second guess because a lot of them, because they're out on these rocks on some island. This is not they're not at professional pools always. You have to clear the rocks that are right below you. And so if you do, like when I jumped my big 8-foot dramatic thing at Lake Travis, I did kind of hesitate. Like as my feet were leaving the edge of the rock, I was like, I don't know if I want to do this actually. And so then I didn't clear it that much. And I'm lucky I didn't hit the rocks because I had that like, I don't know. So think about this. Okay. So that girl that we just watched, Caitlin, pull up the girl that we just watched and turn the volume down quite a bit. So we'll just let it play while I expound on the horror of this situation. So just play it. Yeah. And turn the volume way down. Yeah. So once she starts her little thing, so she's on the edge of this ledge with her heels hanging over. First of all, I would probably lose my balance.
Yeah.
I'd be like, whoa. And then I would be like a cartoon character hitting every rock outcropping, like boing, boing, smash, crash, before I just splat and die on the water. But okay, so she has her heels hanging over the ledge. So first of all, I would lose my balance and I would just fall and belly flop. But second of all, so you watch her do this little move where she bends her knees and then she goes into her flip. And I'm telling you, I'd bend my knees, and in the microseconds as I start my flip, the thought in my ADHD brain would come to mind, what if they're not splashing? Like right as and then I would like try to look, I'd slip, I'd like hit my elbow, probably like right on my funny bone on the edge of this platform. And I'd be like, ah, like it's like splat. And the EMS is called, I mean, because that's the thing. My ADHD brain, 100%. I would have an intrusive thought when I'm starting my little flip, because that is one of the things. I don't know what neurological disorder I have, but intrusive thoughts come with it. And so sometimes your brain will just say something crazy to you in the worst possible moment. It's like, you're at a funeral and it's like, what if you made a fart noise? Like, and it's, and the thing to know about intrusive thoughts, it hits surprise, excellent point. This podcast is a cornucopia of surprise, useful information that I actually read up on this quite a bit. And I learned like intrusive thoughts are just, especially if you have an ADHD kind of brain, it just happens. You don't have to take it seriously. It's not you, it's just your brain having kind of a spasm and just thinking or saying something crazy. And so, but it does, and you just kind of have to get used to it. Like, okay, yes, that was a crazy thing to think. Okay. But like in the heat of the moment, sometimes it can be really distracting. And that would happen to me. My knees would be bent. The momentum is there. And then it would be like, I don't want to backflip. Like, but it's too late. And then I'd be like, and I'd be analyzing it the whole way down until I fall on my side and break my skull and arm. That's just how it would go. So the point is, that is how I am escaping my fears this week about releasing my comedy special. Every time I put myself out there, release a book, release a special, anything like that, this happens where I have, not that I'm specifically fixating on cliff diving, but I just have a lot of fears crop up that I desire to escape. I struggle with procrastination. I struggle with wanting to get wasted on Pims and lemonade. I struggle with like just wanting to escape the very, very, very uncomfortable fear of putting myself out there. And so the way I've been doing it this week is I just watch these fools cliff dive. And I'm just like, well, I could have had a worse calling. There are moments when I'm like, I'd rather cliff dive than do stand-up comedy, but not many. I'm like, it's better. This is better what I do. I'd rather deal with my problems in this career than be throwing myself off a cliff. But seriously, look up these videos, click on the link that is in the show notes. It's just unbelievable. I just can't believe that people do this. And again, it proves the main point that I'm going into, that you have, each one of us have some special gifts or gift that we're supposed to share with the world. And one of the ways you found it is if other people are like, I do not want to do that. I do not want to do that. Like with writing the novel, ask your friends who are sporty and like to expose themselves to sunlight and go outdoors. Sitting inside and writing for 5 hours sounds like hell to them. They don't want to do it. So that's one of the ways you kind of know that you found something that you're really meant to do. And by the way, before we get into the main topic, I'm on fire with the Village Hustle Patreon. In episode 91, so that's not the one from this week, but the week before, I came to this realization that when you're trying to form a habit, let the habit come to you. Let the consistency come to you. Do not try to force the consistency. Do not try to force the habit. Let it arise organically. So that was the hot fire from episode 91, which was not this week, but the week before. And then episode 92, I had to go to Target. And it really, really overwhelmed me. So I brought you guys into that, the trauma of me having to shop at Target. It's not Target. It's just anytime I have to leave the house, really. It's very traumatic for me. And also about how I did this thought exercise of pretending that I was drunk. I was not actually drunk in the video, but I was like, if I were drunk, how would I answer this email? How would I deal with this problem? And so I walk you guys through that. And that is what you get on the Village Hustle level of my Patreon. So look that up at patreon.com/thisisjen. That's patreon.com/thisisjen. And when you become a member of my Patreon at the Village Hustle level, you get everything. You get the the after parties. You get all the archives of the Village Hustle episodes and all that. Okay, main topic. Let's just play that Jose video one more time because it brings me such an utter amount of delight and joy.
Why are you so afraid of taking a risk and failing? Like, I will get it if you had a name to live up to or like a reputation, but nobody's expecting anything from you. Like, I feel like that is a lot of pressure off of you. So just risk it. Like, just do something new and exciting. I don't know. It's not gonna work out, but like, nobody's gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, Caitlin, I'm sorry. You know what? I think I didn't edit that. I think I sent you the wrong version. So I'm sorry. I played this video 3 times and now you have to edit it 3 times in post. Thank you. Did you note the timestamps there? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So just go for it this summer. And if you don't know what your blue flame is, and I don't want you to think that I think that everyone has just one calling, the one calling. That is not the case. I think your blue flame, your love language with the way you're meant to love the world, it can shift, it can change. This is not a one and done thing. But just use this summer to just boldly put yourself out there. And I specifically want to discuss one of the things that can make us village people who are not, living in complete isolation, that can discourage us from doing it, is you hear all this bad advice out there from people who tell you what it means to be an artist and what it means to create. And they really seem to have authority and, sound like they have authority and they even have some credentials. And so you're like, oh man, I don't think I can do it because like this guy's saying that I need this setup. And here's a perfect example of this. This is Lenny Kravitz talking about the room in his mansion that he uses to be creative. And you know what, Caitlin, I forgot to check this one for language too. So you might be very busy fixing this in post. I will probably pause it. So get ready to pause, Caitlin. But this is Lenny Kravitz on what it means to be an artist or be creative or whatever.
In the bedroom. It's a gift to be able to sleep peacefully every night. The word recreation is recreation.
Pause it. First of all, right there, you're losing a lot of the moms that are like, I haven't slept peacefully in a decade. And this guy's like, to be an artist, you need recreation because it means recreation. You need sleep. Guys, you just don't. Okay, so go ahead. What's that say? What is it? Well, whatever, just play it. Okay.
To continually be inspired, you have to continually recreate so that you can be vibrating at the frequency you need to be able to pick up the things that you're being transmitted. I'm just an antenna,
Okay, now I do agree that your creative flow, it's like you are an antenna. It doesn't come from you. It is you are tapping into a greater creativity from the divine realm, from God, whatever you want to call it. Some of the stuff I've done creatively probably wasn't from God, but I see, you shouldn't get your ego too involved in it. But just this, he's like, you have to be, you have to recreate so you can vibrate at the right level. I disagree. I think that being in the struggle of life helps you with your creation. I think that when you have that feeling of, man, I'm a struggling mom, I haven't slept in a while, I'm broke, I'm fighting with my spouse, my kids yell all the time, my house looks nothing like these influencers' houses. I get really depressed when I see these influencers because I have nothing going on that they have going on. I'd like to know where they get their money. How are they so positive all the time? How do they stick to their routines? And when you're in that struggle and you think, I'd like to connect with someone else. My life is insane, but maybe I would love to create something that makes someone else's life a little better. What if I started doing my little paintings that I like to do? And what if I sold them on Etsy? And what if someone bought them for their grandmother who needs full-time care in her nursing home and she's a little sad about being in a nursing home? And what if they hung my painting in that nursing home and it just brightened that lady's day and it just made her smile to know that a young mom put this together. That would be really cool. And that would be a way that I could transform my struggle into something beautiful, that I could take my struggle and put it in a painting and turn it into love for someone else. And I would suggest that the more you are in the struggle, the better your art is going to be. Okay, but let's hear what Lenny Kravitz, who grew up rich, by the way, we will go into this in a minute, but Lenny Kravitz grew up very wealthy. So, and I point this out, not to be hard on Lenny Kravitz, whatever. But just to point out that a lot of times when you're hearing from these people who seem to know, I mean, he is a famous musician, they had some help that, like would Lenny Kravitz be the Lenny Kravitz we know today if his mother had not been a famous television star? We don't know. And again, I am actually not trying to take anything away from him. That's fine. But I'm trying to convey to you, don't let experts get in your head, because you really don't know how hard won or not hard won their particular advice and wisdom is. Okay, but let's hear what Lenny has to say. By the way, he's sitting in his mansion as we're talking about this.
I don't do this. It comes to me. This room provides that space for me to be able to close the doors and recreate myself on a daily basis. It's such a luxury to have a room with this kind of volume.
It's a huge room.
Mm-hmm.
The oval shape is just extraordinary. And very few pieces. Really, it's just the bed and 2 chairs, 2 tables and 2 lamps and a console. But they're all very substantial and hold weight. And so you're able to put very few things in the room, but they're all very bold and give a lot of energy.
What? There's a
And of course, the Moroccan rugs, which I've always loved. I sleep on the floor sometimes.
Caitlin, in your mansion, which room do you devote to creativity? Is it the 2,000 square foot main room, or is it by the servants' quarters? Is that where you do your creative work?
It's my closet.
Yeah, exactly. That's so discouraging to moms, because it's like, really, in order to get into your creative flow, you have to have that. I actually think that room that he is sitting in is as big as my house. It is definitely as big as my downstairs, like easily as big as my downstairs. But I think it's at least like 80% as big as the entire square footage of my house, where my family of 8 people lives. And so that's where moms can get discouraged, because they're like, oh, well, how am I going to be able to vibrate in my flow if I don't have my, mansion room? And so let's keep in mind, Lenny Kravitz has not had a hit in 2 decades. And he came from a wealthy and well-connected Hollywood, LA family. I say again, I'm not trying to say he doesn't have talent. I think he does. But I am trying to say, be careful about listening to people who you don't know their full background. So the advice they're giving you may or may not be correct. Mm-hmm. They are speaking from their experience, which is fine, but it does annoy me when they make it sound like it's a universal. Like you need to recreate and recreate in order to vibrate. It's like, well, I mean, that it hasn't been working that well for you, because you haven't had a hit song in a long time. Listen, Lenny Kravitz has had a lot more hit songs than I have. Okay, so you can prayerfully discern whether you want to listen to him or me. But I will say, this stuff that I have done, I did in the midst of having 6 babies in 8 years in a 1,900 square foot house with very little help. And that's not nothing. It's not nothing. My book has good reviews. All my books have good reviews. And I did it in those circumstances. And what I found through that journey is that the chaos is a help. The chaos, it is actually a help, and that you don't need to listen to these influencers. Always men, by the way. It's always men. And I don't mean to do a gender divide thing here, but I guess I kind of am, because it is. I mean, it's not. I'm not anti-man at all. But I do think that men who have never really been in the trenches raising kids, and men don't know what it's like being the one having the kids and all that. I do think it's easier for them to make the mistake of universalizing their experience and being like, oh, it's easy, you just have to be on your grind and set your alarm for 5 a.m. There is a small percentage of men who I do think they have just not really thought about what it's like to have a different lived experience. But I'm sure women do it too. Anyway, so the chaos of your life, the fact that your kids are home for summer and you can't afford the fancy things for them to do all summer, and it's just getting feral in your house. If you live in a climate like mine, those of us in the South, it's like, it would be like if summer happened for you guys who live up north, during your winter, in the sense we can't go outside for a lot of the time. You cannot go outside midday where we live in Austin, Texas. We are on the same line of latitude as Cairo. It's a hot place that we live. And so our houses get a little feral during the summer because you can't kick the kids outside during the day. I mean, they would wither, they would wilt. So it is tempting in those situations to think, well, I can't go for it this summer because my house is chaos. But I think you can. I think a lot of you might even know what you should go for. I think a lot of you know, like if I were to say, don't think about it too much, but what is the thing you wanted to do that you put in the drawer that you didn't do? I bet you know what it is. I bet a lot of you guys know what it is. And I think this is the summer to go for it. And when you say, like, well, I'm busy and we've got this road trip and we're camping, you can do it in the midst of that chaos. And you might not be able to do what the influencers do, spending 4 hours a day on the novel or whatever. But could you make a few notes on your novel while you're camping? Could you work on the outline a little bit? It doesn't have to be perfect. When I say go for it summer, it doesn't mean that you completely finish your magnum opus in perfect form. It means that you connect with the side of yourself that will go for it fearlessly. It means you connect with the side of yourself that listens to our friend Jose, who's like, why wouldn't you go for it? Nobody cares. I mean, it's not going to work, but why not? Like, literally nobody cares what you do. You don't have a reputation to uphold. It's not like you have millions of people, analyzing what you do. Why wouldn't you go for it? It means you connect with that side of yourself. It means you use this summer as a time to learn what it looks like when you set aside your ego and do the dang thing. You just do it. You just try it. And even if that means it's imperfect and it's not, you don't have a perfect finished product at the end of the summer, it means that you tried, and you tried fearlessly, and you didn't hold back, and you didn't talk yourself out of it. Oh, there's hit this amazing analogy sound effect. It's like you're like the cliff divers, seamless tapestry. You're like the cliff divers. Like you're just, because what most of us do is we go up to the edge of the Red Bull logo platform that is 98 feet or whatever up in the air. And most of us, rightfully so, our ego gets involved in our sense of self-preservation gets involved and is like, I don't think you should do this. That's how I feel about to release my comedy special, because I've said before, anyone who puts stand-up comedy on YouTube, it doesn't matter the quality, it doesn't matter, anyone who puts stand-up comedy on YouTube, the haters are going to come in, and you will have comments from people being like, this sucks, this is so bad, this is the worst comedy I've ever seen. So, and you see it on social media, you see it on YouTube. And so I am like the diver at the edge of the Red Bull platform, being like, can we pull this back? Like, I don't think I want to do this. And this is what a lot of us do. And you make up stuff for why you can't. You're like, well, I would go for it this summer, but I have to wash my hair. I have to, I have a lot of dishes to do. I was going to clean out the closet. And that's like you being the diver who's like, I'm just going to climb back down. I'm just going to get on these. I'm just going to go back down the little ladder, and I'm just climbing back down. I'm not doing this. Or you second guess it, like right as you start your flip, you're like, I don't know if I should do this, and then you jack it all up. This is the summer. Having a go for it summer is where you connect with that side of yourself that just jumps, and you're terrified, and it will probably hurt when you hit the water and you're screaming at people like, you better be splashing all the way down because you got to break the surface edge of the water. But you do it. You do it. And how it will work out for you, I can't tell you. And I know that's frustrating, and I would get a lot more views if I could say, oh, here's exactly how it's going to work for you. Here's the paint binder. You got to take your ice bath at 5 a.m. and then it'll. But let me read you this whole quote from William Hutchinson Murray. Okay, he was a Scottish guy. During World War II, Murray served in the British Army, and he was captured by Germans in 1942, and he was held as a prisoner of war for 3 years. If you know anything about the German prisoner of war camps, they were not pleasant places. It was very bad. While he was a prisoner of war, he started writing what would become his classic book, Mountaineering in Scotland. Okay, you're not a prisoner of war being held by the Nazis. So you can start on the novel, guys. After the war, Murray resumed climbing. He was a mountain climber too, with even greater commitment. Despite the physical and emotional exhaustion from years in a POW camp, he climbed extensively in Scotland's Highlands, and he eventually became one of the founding voices of post-war British mountaineering. His writing helped sparked a national revival in outdoor adventure. So again, this is, I like this quote. So he's the one who said, the moment one commits oneself, then providence moves too. I like using this quote from him as an example because he is someone who knows the struggle. He is someone who had a legitimate reason, being imprisoned by the Germans in World War II, for not trying out the old blue flame. And here is the full quote. And I've been excited to share this full quote with you because I like the whole thing. So William Hutchinson Murray says, perfect timing. He says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. That the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance, which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. I have learned a deep respect for one of these couplets. Whatever you can do or dream, or whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Isn't that great?
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then there's the other great quote, fortune favors the bold. That's always been one of my favorites. Fortune favors the bold. Mm-hmm. But so what, to summarize what William Hutchinson Murray says there, he's saying that it's going to be hard for you to create anything, whether it's becoming a mountaineer, writing a book about mountaineering, doing your painting, starting your Etsy shop. It's going to be hard for you to succeed at that if you don't know this truth about the world. That when you commit 100%, crazy stuff starts happening in your favor. And again, it's that whole thing. God will show you the path, but he's not handing you the whole roadmap. He will show you the path 1 foot in front of you, and it will be an amazing path. And it'll be like, whoa, that's crazy. This is taking me amazing directions. But he's only going to show you 1 foot in front of you. And that only happens when you say, I'm doing it. I'm setting aside my ego. I'm setting aside my fears. I'm setting aside that voice that worries what my friends and the moms at school and my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law and my mom and my dad and, what all these people will think of me. I'm setting all that aside and I'm starting my go for it summer. And when you do that, listen to William Hutchinson Murray, doors will start opening for you and the path will unfold before you, and it will be custom to you. It won't, you might not have neighborhood girls coming over to your house like I did. It'll be something specific for you, but it will happen. I can promise you that. I have gotten myself in over my head with enough creative blue flame projects that I can tell you every single time this quote ends up being true. Every single time, 100% of the time. So have your go for it summer. Go for it. Keep me posted. Leave a comment on YouTube. Tell me how things are working out for you. And be sure to join me in the YouTube live chat for my comedy special tomorrow, Thursday, June 5th, 7 p.m. East. Cannot wait to have you guys there chatting with me. Cannot wait for you to see the special. I've been posting some clips from it. They've been a lot of fun. Excited to have those out there. And I will be back with you next week here on the Jen Fulwiler Show.